Using 4 to 6 personnel, lift the shelter into the center of the ground cloth. Neon reflectors on the transport bag show the position of the doors of the shelter. Align the reflectors on the transport bag with the serial label on the ground cloth. Pull apart the side walls of the transport bag, laying each flap flat on the ground, then folding it in half back towards the shelter. Release the yellow compression strap around the shelter and store in a safe place. There are 2 red handles located at each corner of the shelter. Position 1 person at each corner and optionally 1 person at each end-door location to help expand the shelter. Each person positioned at the corner of the shelter should grasp the handles, lift, and walk outwards from the center of the ground cloth until the shelter is fully expanded. If any resistance is felt while expanding the shelter, stop and check for snags, usually in the form of fabric wrapped around a node location. Also make sure all excess material for the door is hanging down and not on top of the shelter. Before attempting to lift the shelter, designate a leader to dictate each step of the lifting process. Position 3 people at each door location. On each side, 1 person should have the ready pole in hand and should be positioned at the center node on that side. The 2 persons without the ready pole should be positioned on either side of the first individual. Be sure to avoid grasping the shelter by the articulating frame members, which can pinch fingers while lifting. Lift the shelter high enough so that the person holding the ready pole can locate the neon reflector on the center node, put the ready pole in place on the neon reflector, and begin to support the weight of the shelter with the ready pole. If needed, the ready poles can be rested on the ground briefly to prepare for the next step in the lifting process. Once the ready pole is in position and the shelter weight is supported, the persons without the ready pole will make their way to the handles on the side walls of the shelter. Snow pole kit includes upper and lower telescoping support poles as well as cross straps. The upper support poles have spring pins that depress when the pole is fully collapsed. Fully collapse the upper pole and insert the larger end of the pole into one side of the yellow bracket at the inside peak of the shelter. Then extend the lower portion of the pole, allowing the pins to lock into place. Lightly twist the upper portion of the upper pole to ensure that the pins are in place.
Have one person use the push-pull to push upwards on the yellow bracket, while another grasps the bent lower support pole, pulling away from the yellow bracket, but keeping it in line with the upper support pole. Do this until the pins in the middle of the upper support pole and pins on the bent lower support pole have fully engaged. Repeat this for all of the remaining support poles.
Next, install the cross straps by unwrapping the straps, clipping the carabiner clip at one end of a strap to a wire loop protruding from behind each bracket midway down the ceiling. Make sure to loosen the straps at the ratcheting end of the cross strap by pressing on the cord release lever on the side of the black housing. This will ensure that you can slip the hook end of the cross strap into the opposing wire loop. Once hooked, pull on the cord end of the ratcheting side of the cross strap until the strap is tight. Repeat for the remaining cross straps. To close the end doors, release the Velcro straps holding each panel of the end door in place. The three main end door panels should unravel to the floor. Also loosen the Velcro straps for the smaller side panels. At this point, you should be free to close the zippers between the door panels. After this is complete, secure the ground cloth flap onto the mating Velcro on the door flaps. Work from the middle outwards. If not done previously, do not forget to anchor the shelter. This can be done using the included anchor kit. This can be done using the included anchor kit and/or sandbags or water anchor bladders depending on setup terrain. Please note the stakes included in the anchor kit are not designed for use on concrete.
Response Technologies, protecting lives through innovation.